When you think of English paper piecing, at least I certainly did when I was first introduced to it, I just thought of English paper piecing as being a bit boring and exceptionally time-consuming and very tedious. And as I've become hooked on English paper piecing, I found it's absolutely none of those things. When you think of English paper piecing, most people think of very traditional designs, probably done in silk or velvets, minute little pieces of paper. This is a 1.5 inch shape, but some of the other pieces were actually done this small. They were very, very tiny, and I think they were done probably with ladies of leisure who really didn't have anything else in their life, which must have been a bit sad. But I must say they've left us some complete treasures to look at and enjoy for later use. This is a silk piece, and when you patch silk, it is easier if you use only paper, which is nice and light. It makes it much easier to handle, and there's something quite gorgeous and yummy about using silk. It's just got a finish that's completely different from using calico. When in early years, when they did start to do English paper piecing, they used scraps of fabric which were very expensive. They would have been very expensive in their time. They used silks and they used velvets. They also used a cotton that was specially treated. Later on, it moved into using just plain calicos as it came away from the very expensive house ladies of leisure into more household use. So this is a very traditional design that's got a slightly different twist. If you look carefully, you can see the repeating flowers in this. This one is just a fun piece. I have some bits of scraps of various colours, and I auditioned them to see if the colours worked well together, and I can't find them kind of fun. And so I'm working on this. So every evening when I've got a little bit of extra time, I can sit down and I can take out my sewing and I can add a few more shapes. This amount here would be roughly what I would have created in the evening from scratch. In other words, I would have had the pieces cut out, but sewing them to the templates and sewing them together in probably 2 hours would have given me that much work. Then I can join that to my bigger piece and so on. And it grows quite quickly when you do it that way. The tumbling blocks, again, a beautiful, really traditional pattern. And I've seen some absolutely wonderful pieces in museums that are just made out of velvet, very luxurious. The modern calico version that most of us use these days, this is quite small. As you can see, this is probably just about 1.5 inches wide. It's not very big, and if you want your piece to grow quite quickly, I would recommend using larger templates, but small is fun. This is a sampler that I did for my very big quilt, Flying Free, which is made out of 2-inch squares. Actually, it's 1 3/4. The fabric was 2-inch squares and triangles. That's all it was, just a simple geometric pattern. And now I've got these samples left over, I thought, well, you know, I've got to do something with them. I can't leave them doing nothing. So I'm going to use them in a pillowcase. I shall use them as inserts in a pillowcase section. Just got to add a little bit more onto the top and finish them off. Hate wasting pieces. There we go.